So, a PhD in physics, what does that phrase even mean? For some people, it's like the ultimate academic goal, but for others, it's something way bigger. It's the key to unlocking the entire universe. So, what is it really? And maybe more importantly, what could it mean for you? Let's dive in and find out.
Okay, let's kick things off with a question that might sound a little weird at first. What in the world does the smartphone in your hand right now have to do with the vast, deep mysteries of outer space?
Well, as strange as it might seem, the answer is all about physics. It really boils down to having a deep, fundamental understanding of how everything in our universe actually works. And that knowledge, the absolute highest level of it, that comes from a PhD. It's really a path of true mastery. So come on, let's explore how this one degree has the power to literally reshape our world. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll ask if it's just a degree or something more. Then, we'll look at 5 incredible opportunities that open up. We'll see how lab work translates to the real world, talk about why it's a marathon, not a sprint, and finally, figure out what big problems you could actually solve with it. All right, first section. Is a PhD in physics just another degree, or is it something much, much bigger? I think the best way to think about it is like this. A PhD in physics is not just some piece of paper you hang on your wall. No, it's a key that gives you the ability to unlock the biggest, most complex mysteries of the universe. Okay, so you've got this key. What doors does it actually open? Let's jump into our next section and find out about the 5 amazing opportunities we're talking about. So, imagine that this PhD opens 5 different doors for you, and each one leads down a totally unique path. You could go for deep specialization and become one of the top experts in the world. Or you could do groundbreaking research that literally pushes humanity forward. You could become a professor through the path to academia, connect with brilliant minds through global collaboration, or tap into the power to innovate and basically build the future. Pretty cool, right? So let's take that first door, deep specialization. This isn't just about knowing a lot of stuff. We're talking about becoming a true expert. I mean, imagine using what you know about quantum physics to build computers that are literally thousands of times more powerful than even the best supercomputers we have today. It's just mind-boggling to even think about. Have you ever dreamed of working on India's space program? Or maybe helping to build up the nation's defense technologies? Well, a PhD can turn that dream into a reality. It opens doors to some of the most prestigious institutions out there, like ISRO, DRDO, or BARC. And you know, this key doesn't just work in one country. It gives you an all-access pass to the global scientific community. You could find yourself collaborating with the absolute best minds on the planet at a place like CERN in Switzerland, searching for the Higgs boson. Or you could be working at LIGO, helping to detect gravitational waves rippling across the universe. I mean, wow. And this is where that power to innovate really comes to life. Think about it. The GPS in our phones, the MRI machines in hospitals that save lives. Almost every single piece of modern tech we rely on has the fingerprints of a physics PhD all over it. They are the real engines behind so much innovation. Okay, so that's the big picture. But let's bring it down to earth a bit. Let's take this knowledge out of the lab and into the real world. Let's talk careers, jobs, and where a PhD in physics can actually take you. First, let's look at the more traditional career paths. You could become a professor at one of India's top universities, like the IITs or NITs, making somewhere between 7 and 18 lakh rupees a year. Or you could be a scientist at a place like ISRO or DRDO, with a salary that can go up to 20 lakh. I mean, these are seriously prestigious and impactful jobs. But here's where things get really interesting, the high-tech industry. You might actually be surprised to hear that huge companies like Google, Apple, and Intel are actively looking for physics PhDs. And you might ask why. It's because their ability to solve problems is just on a whole other level. You can see the demand right here, big slices of the pie in semiconductors, data science, and yeah, even finance. So yeah, their analytical skills are in super high demand. But what does that demand actually mean when it comes to a paycheck? Well, the numbers can be pretty impressive. If you go into a field like data science, a salary up to 30 lakh rupees a year is definitely within reach. But the real shocker, it's in finance. If you become a quantitative analyst, or a quant, as they're called, someone who builds these crazy complex models to predict the markets, that salary can just, well, skyrocket. Yup, you are seeing that number correctly.
Over 60 lakh rupees a year? That's the kind of earning potential a PhD in physics can unlock. That is a truly staggering amount of money, isn't it? But look, this isn't some kind of lottery win. It's a direct result of the skills that a physics PhD gives you. It's that combination of deep, fundamental knowledge and an almost superhuman ability to tackle incredibly complex problems.
Okay, after hearing all that, especially about the money, a big question is probably popping into your head. Is this path for me? Is it for everyone? Before you jump to any conclusions, we have to look at the other side of the coin. Because this journey, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
You really have to understand the balance here. On one side of the scale, you have these incredible rewards. You get to contribute to human knowledge, teach the next generation, and land these amazing high-tech jobs. But on the other side, there's the investment. We're talking 6 to 7 years of your life, a huge amount of patience, and you have to accept that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. And this, right here, really says it all. A PhD is a long-term play. It's all about investing in yourself now for massive, long-term success later on. So let's tie all of this together. We've talked a lot about the journey, right? The marathon. But what about the finish line? What's the ultimate point of all this? Once you have that unique key in your hand, what kind of problems can you actually go out and solve? Let's be honest. Our world has some pretty big problems. We've got climate change, we're trying to cure cancer, we're figuring out the future of AI. A PhD in physics gives you the foundational tools and the deep knowledge you need to start tackling these enormous challenges head-on.
And so we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you. We've looked at the knowledge, the incredible opportunities, and the serious commitment it takes. So the only real question left is this. Which of the world's biggest problems are you ready to solve?